Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC Vegas 49, also known as UFC Fight Night 202 or UFC on ESPN Plus 60. Islam Makhachev versus King Bobby Green, your main event on short notice due to Beneil Dariush breaking his fibia and unfortunately being pulled out on very short notice. But King Bobby Green, a king for many reasons, stepping on short notice after two back-to-back boss wins, right? A knockout over Ally Aquinta and a decision pulverizing win just recently, 3 weeks ago over Nasrat Haqparast. Just an awesome showing. Can he
very
slow
impressive
down
stuff.
Islam? Right, that's what we all want to know, right? Can he slow the hype train that is Islam Makhachev?
I'd love to see it, but as we get right down into the breakdown here, we got Islam Makhachev versus Bobby Green, and just like you said, I mean, we were supposed to have Beneil Dariush in there, and I mean, let's be honest, this is a step down in the wrestling department from Beneil Dariush. And I think Bobby Green is going to be a serious problem off the back foot with his jab and movement, but in a small cage with a high volume wrestler like Makhachev, and they size up well, just about even all around in the measurables. But Makhachev, I mean, we've seen his wrestling game before, and I will say we've seen Bobby Green let guys get in on the hips even if they're not completing the takedowns. So
I'm so glad you said that, by the way, about the small cage. It's not really something you tend to think about, especially when um Bobby Green's style benefits so much from a large cage, and he just fought in one 3 weeks ago.
yes,
So now you're gonna take away, 5 square feet from him. And I'm really glad you mentioned that.
yeah. Listen, I really like that angle. Also, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to our channel here, and make sure you like this video. It really goes a long way. And before we get down to the betting aspect of this fight, yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I respect the hell out of Bobby Green for
Oh
stepping up
my
and doing
god.
this. Apparently, I mean, this fight's going to be at 160-pound catch weight instead of the original 155 for Makhachev. So for a guy that cuts a ton of weight in Makhachev, that is super helpful. And Bobby Green, he weighed 195 as of just a few days ago. So, I mean, listen, I do think, you have to give all the respect and everything. But I mean, Bobby Green, let's be serious, man. He's here to fight in what isn't going to possibly make the 5 round main event. And he's out here getting his first headliner. So, shout out to Bobby Green for cashing in on an opportunity. And I mean, even if he misses the 160-pound mark, I mean, props to him for even showing up and doing it. But if I was a gambling man, and I think you guys know that I am, Bobby
I think
Green's
he
gonna catch that 160.
I think he's gonna make weight for sure. It's just how good he looks and how much he's gonna drain himself to get there because he's such a gangster. He's gonna push himself to do it. And then of course the biggest caveat, right? Maybe he even looks okay at weigh-ins. Can he now go 5 rounds with one of the most absolutely grueling fighters one of the most grueling type of fights you can fight? One of the best in the world right now. So I think the odds overwhelmingly say that we don't think so. And, I think I know Bobby Green's a gangster. So that's why he's doing this. I don't think he comes away with the win. It's really just really trying to figure out which way do we think Islam Makhachev wins? Does he win by finish or does he take it to a decision? I felt after watching some of the tape that with Thiago Moises, I felt like Islam was maybe playing with his food a little bit and just kind of really trying to wear down Thiago because he felt that Thiago's threatening point would be the grappling, would be the submission game. Um,
I
where
guess he landed a takedown in that fight.
yeah,
Thiago.
Thiago did. So yeah, I think it was important for Islam to get those kind of rounds in there. But then you look to his next fight versus Dan Hooker, a guy that's bigger than him, stronger than him. Yeah, I mean, I think he's very similar to Bobby Green in a lot of ways in terms of striking and being unorthodox. Is as unorthodox as Bobby Green, but I mean, Hooker he didn't give any respect to the striking at all. Like, you're gonna have to go out there and earn the respect. I don't think he's just gonna give it to Bobby. So I think that's a problem because Bobby is gonna get dumped on his butt at fairly quickly, I think. Um, so
I mean,
yeah,
listen, Makhachev only has one less knockout at the UFC level than Bobby Green does.
wow.
So, and that's with 18 total fights for Green and 11 for Makhachev.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, I
I
don't
guess if you
think,
like Bobby Green, he's got to win by knockout, and it's not gonna
or by stuffing takedowns and going to a decision.
no.
I
Imagine
mean,
he
he's got
submits him.
70% takedown defense against like mortal wrestlers. You're talking about Islam Makhachev here, and really, he doesn't really sell out on those strikes like some other opponents because he's constantly moving with them, and that's what earns him the points. But the impact just doesn't land quite the same. So I will say, seeing Clay Guida get in on the hips, getting to the back, and landing a huge slam in the first minute of their fight, that doesn't necessarily bode well to how Bobby Green's going to handle Islam in a small cage here. So at the end of the day, I know it's minus 900 for Islam Makhachev. You know, right now the submission line's at minus 120, knockout plus 260. I don't know if Bobby Green's going to be able to hold on to it all the way through. So if you look at the double chance or fighter to win by finish, Makhachev by knockout or submission is at minus 250. I do think that this comes inside the distance, but then if you start looking at some other plays, if you get Islam Makhachev rounds 1, 2, or 3 on
Yeah,
FanDuel was minus 135, and Islam Makhachev in under 2.5 rounds, that was at minus 115 on DraftKings. So those are the two plays I'm kind of leaning towards, and I might want that extra half a round, get all the way to the end of the third just in case of anything. But ultimately, I think that's going to be my play. Is if I'm playing this fight straight, it's going to be Islam Makhachev in
round
rounds
one, two,
one,
three.
2, or 3. I
I
think
don't.
it's the minus 135. I'll take that.
I don't think we see championship rounds. I think we have started a new streak, maybe possibly of main events not going the distance. But I don't think this one goes.
Yeah, I mean, any other thoughts on this one before we get moving along?
No, you have the perfect prop. In a fight where you have a main event, like we could have parlayed him maybe earlier today or yesterday, right at minus 700, right? Maybe you can stick him in a parlay if you really feeling you have two other really strong legs. But now at minus 900, he's going to be minus 1,000, minus 1,100 come Saturday. It's this prop. It's if you can metal detect the prop, if you have a good feel on it, I think you do. I don't think Bobby Green is gonna last that long, and if he does, again, more power to him. And I honestly think that's almost a little bit of a knock on not only Islam but kind of almost on Dan Hooker too in the last fight, bro. You're getting Kimura out here and like in the first round, and Bobby Green's out here going 25 with you. I was wondering where that was.
Yeah, oopsies. Sorry, guys. We didn't quite have the stats up for the first fight, but it overwhelmingly leans in Islam Makhachev's favor.
Good.
Now, on to our next fight here. We have Misha
This is one of
Serkinov
I was gonna
versus
say this is
Wellington
what
Turman.
I was gonna say this is one of the worst co-main events, but like they've been giving us these like the co-main event has almost meant like there's no respect to the co-main event anymore.
No,
It's just another fight.
it's basically the guys that have the longest tenure, even if they're not the most exciting. And I mean, yeah, sure, Misha Serkinov's got 11 career UFC fights, and Turman has 5. But I
They're
mean, are
not
these
pushing
really the
either
guys
of
that
these
you're
guys.
looking for the co-main here? I
It's
mean,
really it's weird. They should
uh,
put somebody like Arman Sarukian maybe in the co-main
you would
because
think.
or like even somebody like Terrence McKinney. Like I'm not even sure what you're doing. Like if either of these guys lose, I would not. Would you be surprised to see that UFC roster drops? like
Yeah,
like would you be
I mean,
surprised to see that?
shit.
I'm not.
No,
So
I mean, listen, Misha Serkinov comes in off of 3 straight. I'm sorry. Well, I guess 4 straight total first round finishes, but you know, 3 of those. I'm sorry.
wait,
He lost in
yeah.
round 1 to Johnny Walker. He lost in round 1 to Ryan Spann.
It's
Then
been
he
round
had
one, two, three. It's like 8 fights straight of
right
round
in
one,
at
dude.
heavyweight, and then he
Other than the
goes
Jocko,
down to middleweight,
yeah.
and he gets Christoph Jocko. So he fights to a split decision. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear that Jocko won that fight, and Misha Serkunov. just the entire time just looks slow. His timing doesn't look great. Uh, he's just always a step behind. And then whenever he tries to push the pace and really get in on the grappling, the dude just looks exhausted. And he takes this eye poke that maybe didn't happen in the third round. And I mean, he's milking it. And Jocko is just screaming at him from the other side of the octagon. She's like, let's go. You're fake. He's tired. He's tired. And I mean, I can't argue with it. Misha, you're going to be facing a really good grappler here in Wellington Turman. I know he doesn't have quite the same volume of takedowns, but he has fought more fights overall to decision. He's been to 3 decisions in the UFC where Misha's only been to 1. So you take that sample size and you can, there's Dr. Phil. Look at him. But yeah, I mean, Wellington Turman's takedown defense is at 100%. Now that's only on 4 total opponent attempts, but Misha, I don't think he's going to be able to push a grappling pace here at middleweight. He cuts so much to get down, and he looks in great shape, but at his age, I mean, 34, a guy that's been used to fighting up at a higher weight, now making that adjustment. I mean, good for him. He got to the decision last time out, but Wellington Turman, he has shown to push a pace with the striking when he's not poking you in the eye. So, hey, if anyone's going to get an eye poke, maybe Misha gets a little time here. Are we looking at like a little point deduction prop here potentially? But overall, I think just seeing, Wellington Turman as the plus 100 dog here, it ended up being slightly attractive.
I thought the line was gonna keep running to even money, and it hasn't yet. So that has me a little on pause about the whole situation. You look at the stats, and I'm kind of surprised to see how many takedowns per 15 that Misha Serkinov has. You wonder what Wellington might do on his back.
I mean,
but
he's landed 16 out of 36, and Turman's only landed 8 out of 36. So double the amount of takedowns on the same attempts for Serkinov, and that's at a higher weight class.
Yeah. No, but Wellington, Wellington, while he has a higher level of control time than Misha, though, he has also a higher level of opponent control time, which is not great. So, it's honestly, it's unfortunate because this is such a early prelims sketchy sketchball fight, and it's the co-main. So yeah, I like Turman. I really do think that Turman is the worst.
He is the worst.
The thing with Turman that's the worst is his chin. And at the end of the day, I don't think Serkinov is the guy to test it. So I think the gas tank is going to fade for Serkinov before Turman's does. And that's when the wrestling will come in. It's like one of those things where maybe Misha wins the first one and Turman comes back and gruels out the next 2. But not really. He really is the worst, Lubania. But like, it's not a fight you want a lot of exposure on in any way, shape, or form.
No, and I think we'll leave it at that. I mean, I'm leaning to the dog here, Wellington Turman. Do I recommend a dog of the day play here? No, but a little, a few bucks here or there. I mean, and yeah, I mean that. let's not waste any more time on that one because I think we got everything that we possibly could have out of that. And we get on to our next fight here, which is a featured fight on the card, and it's Joseanne Nunes versus
fight on the card
versus Priscilla Cachoeira, and
I mean,
we're talking a real letdown here as far as I'll even say from like main card to prelims. I think I get more excited at the names on the prelims, but we get into breaking down this fight, Kim's been out of Syndicate MMA recently. And Priscilla Cachoeira has shown a clear hole when it comes to grappling.
She's somebody else. She's somebody else I've seen hanging out a lot with Ramon Pasquale.
Yes. So, she's been getting those reps in, but Jeon Kim has only attempted 3 total takedowns in the UFC and has landed 0. So as far as an overall game plan, it's a little bit of projection. Can you say, is Kim gonna wrestle here?
No,
you can't. But what can you say is Cachoeira gonna force a clinch and try to try to do the same things to Kim that Alexa Grasso and Molly McCann that they were able to do. I don't think that Cachoeira is that type of fighter. She's going to come forward, she's going to throw bombs, but I mean Kim, even though she doesn't land at a super high percentage, as you see a 34% accuracy, it's
Right.
because she's always doing this. She's throwing
Yeah.
out the jab, even if it's nowhere close. It's a rangefinder, and if you get inside that jab, that's where the clinch happens. You can wear her down. You can start landing on the inside, and we see that she doesn't use that range so great. But I mean, what are you seeing here, Guru?
From Kim actually is like her background is the striking, right? She's a kickboxing she has a kickboxing background, I believe.
Hmm.
Um and
Yes,
yeah, she does
and
100%.
boxing.
And right, that's what it was,
She's got the
kickboxing and
Wushu
boxing.
black belt. She's got the
Thank you.
Hapkido black belt. She's a BJJ purple belt. So she's well rounded. She's got all
Right.
these different disciplines. It just seems that she doesn't excel at any one, right? So
No, and
keep
that and
going.
that, and the, so sh- the problem is that her game has been a little bit, for lack of a better word, timid because of the threat of all the other things, because she's not as strong there. But what I do really see, especially from our beautiful statue that you put together, um, is when you see a fighter that has more strikes absorbed than landed, right? That's what we call a red flag. Even if it's like 3.5 to 3.75, right? Your differential is negative 0.25, right? That would be a negative, right? We'd be like, wow, that's not good. 5 fight sample size, 3.8 landed to 7 absorbed. 7. What? She's getting hit twice as much as she's throwing? How? How?
So
That's
I will say that this is the interesting part where the advanced stats do come into play because you
right,
make a
because
really good point. However, you look at the distance landed per minute at distance, and Cachoeira lands 5.35 and absorbs 4.15 from distance. So she actually, from distance, isn't so bad, but we see her get taken down and the ground strikes. I mean, she absorbs 5.5 ground strikes per minute of opponent control.
well, but how
So
much?
so
Well,
that's so
actually,
that factors into her overall
that
strikes
actually is
absorbed.
interesting because then you look at Kim's control stats, and even though she doesn't have a lot of takedowns, actually she has no takedowns scored. She has a ton of control time.
Almost 9 minutes. So who's going to be the one initiating the clinch? And listen, I mean, Kim has attempted a couple, and if Cachoeira is going to come in throwing wild, she could get caught by a jab
Or
coming in
gas out, or start
or
fingering
gas
people's eyes.
out.
How did she get a fight on the main card, let alone another fight?
Yeah, I mean,
It was
that's
ridiculous the way she tried to blatantly cheat versus Jillian Robertson.
yeah, it was
I mean, she
ridiculous.
apologized, but like, what else was she gonna say? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. It just looked, bruh. All
So
right, we're moving on. We're on
Jiyeon
Kim.
Kim minus 165. That's
Oh yeah,
probably going to be a
we're
part
back.
of a small parlay. I'm not sure it's a best play of the day type of deal.
What about Kim
Kim
and
and over one and
over
a
one and a
half.
half?
Oh, we were thinking. All right, all right, all right. Did they post it yet? Let's
Yeah,
see
it's
because they
minus one
should have it.
twenty.
Minus 120. Yeah, I mean, I don't see an early finish here. I mean, even Nadia Kassem lasted
But
until
but
late in the
but
second
is it
round.
worth it if there's an early finish
Right, minus
for to shave
165.
off 35 cents? I
No,
don't
you
think
might
it's
as well
worth
just
it.
lay the 1.65 units and to win one, just straight up. I mean, there's enough value there.
No, I
I
think
think
I think
Kim
we
could
can
be
find
up
I
to
think we can
66%.
find one other leg that's gonna hit and parlay it.
Yeah.
Because
So
I mean,
listen, I
what
mean,
if
for
you even
sure.
parlayed her? All right, crazy talk. What if we parlay? What is parlaying her in Islam? What does that come to?
Oh shit. So if you
It's
put
probably not even plus money. It's
Kim and
probably like minus
Makhachev
one
is
nineteen
minus
or something.
128.
Minus 128, right? So
But
that's
as
still
we move
that's
along
still
here
I'd still
to our
rather
next
play a unit on
fight,
that or 2 units on that or something.
well, it might be interesting here because as we move on to our
Oh
next fight,
yeah. Oh boy.
maybe we have the other leg coming up here.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people are on the dog here, man. The public dog is I hear a lot of barking.
Uh, maybe not even. I mean, I see a lot of sharp guys, out there, guys that we've worked with in the past, out there on Joel Alvarez, and I get the angle. And the line has moved significantly. I mean, now that Arman Sarukian is at minus 220 and Joel Alvarez is at plus 180, there might not be as much temptation from some of those sharp sides to play the underdog in this spot. I think the line's evened out to where it makes sense from the favorite side at this point. Because Arman Sarukian, while he's giving up 7 inches of height, and he's giving up 5 inches of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, we've also seen Duran win against, what was it, Antonio Hoyo?
Yeah.
So you get in low on those hips. And I mean, Arman Sarukian, he's landing 3.38 takedowns per 15 at a 34% rate. And that's after going 1 of 12 against Islam Makhachev. So you take out those stats, and that's 13 out of 29 when he's facing a mere mortal grappler. And he's shooting them, 41 total takedowns attempted, and he has 21 minutes of control.
Oh my God. Dude, well,
I
don't even think
Alvarez is so excited. I mean, he's got 0% takedown defense.
Well, I don't even think that's like wow, he has 0% takedown defense. That's bad. Well, I don't even think that's his most impressive stat. You look at these stats and look at his striking absorbed per minute, 1.4. Look at his distance absorbed per minute, under a strike per
and
minute.
That's at minute from distance. So that's not even like per minute of fight. That accounts for every minute he spends at distance. He's only getting landed on 1 strike.
That's insanity. It's 1.4, not integrated, 1.4 strike per. That's elite. Islam Makhachev might be one of the only, and Khabib might be the only people with higher, well, I guess lower numbers of grappling, of striking there. That's really, really impressive. I hate to do it to even like some of our friends that are, I guess, on Joel Alvarez. And hey, listen, we could all be eating crow, but I just feel like people are playing Joel Alvarez here because they're all really, really bummed that everybody, and I mean everybody, was on Thiago Moises. Nobody was on Joel Alvarez. He hadn't fought in forever. I could barely even remember who he was. And you look back at who he's fought. He's beaten Yakovlev and Joe Duffy and Danilo Bellardo, and he lost to his only fight ever has gone the distance in his whole career was his UFC debut versus Demiris Magulov. So I mean, that's not necessarily a great competition. And Arman Sarukian, while his competition could use a little bit of beefing up, I think this is a good step in that direction, and he's dominated his last 4 fights. So looking the best in his last fight than any of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Arman Sarukian at minus 220 now. He's shown the cardio. He's shown the path to victory and staying with the top control and really working through it. And I mean, he does throw two ground. He lands 2 ground strikes per minute of control. So it's not like he's just completely laying and praying. He is working. He doesn't have any submission attempts, but I don't think he should be trying to submit Joel Alvarez.
How is Joel's ground? Is it jiu-jitsu? Is it good enough? I mean,
Alvarez is Arman's or Joel?
Alvarez.
Alvarez is jiu-jitsu. I mean, that's where he's nasty. He loves submitting people from guards.
No, that's what I figured.
Limbs, and it's like he throws up the triangle. He'll throw up arm bars. Like he's very flexible and long-limbed, and he's able to get a lot of leverage. So, Sarukian is going to have to,
he's going to be crafty down there. I mean, he wasn't submitted by Islam Makhachev in their fight, so
He also wasn't submitted by Matt Frivola, another guy that he spent extensive time grappling. He wasn't submitted by Christos Yagos. He wasn't submitted by Davey Hamosh.
Well, listen, Christos Yagos is not.
No, I know. It's just the overall point that
I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore.
That's also a very good point. But yes, like you said, I mean, if you fight Islam Makhachev in your debut for 15 minutes and don't even face a submission attempt, you're doing something right.
Right. So that's why I'm not worried about Joel Alvarez here. I really think that this is. I don't even. The last time we saw, and we're gonna move on. The last time we saw Armin at this price was like I think after his Islam Makhachev loss versus Olivier Mercier. But
Yeah.
like he's been such a high priced favorite in all of his fights, and now for whatever reason, Vegas lined him high, and the public, the people have bet him down. The last time we saw something that drastic was, to me, last week when we saw the line get posted again on the Miller Moda, and it was reposted, flipped, and that's all betting public, man. So maybe I'm just sucking sour grapes missing that one, but especially when I knew that the experience was gonna play a big factor. But
Well,
shouts out to Jim Miller, man. I'm happy for him.
so if you were to take Arman Sarukian, Jiyoung Kim, and Islam Makhachev, that's a plus 159 parlay.
Yeah.
That it's just I get sketched out adding Jiyoung Kim as
Yeah,
like
of
a
course. Of
play of the
course.
day type of deal. So I think I might find a different
Leg.
leg to parlay it to, but I
But
like
she's a
this
solid but she's a
idea.
solid one. She's an option.
She's an option right now. If you do Sarukian and Makhachev, it's minus 164. We'll see if we can find another piece to get you that plus money you're looking for. I know you love
Listen,
that plus
but you
money.
know what? TB, when you say that, you were ready to lay 1.6 units on Kim.
So Sarukian and Makhachev,
I would totally rather lay 1.6 units
I
on
would
that.
rather lay
2 units to
3.2,
win too. Yeah, exactly.
4.8. Like
Easy.
yeah. I mean, if there's gonna be a play of the day, that's one that we're definitely leaning towards.
We got a lot of fights to break down here,
Yeah.
Skater.
All right. Well, as we move on here, as we halfway are into it, we got Armin Petrosian versus Gregory Rodriguez.
This fight's gonna be a banger for as long as it lasts. RoboCop comes to slay. That Da Un Jung fight. I could watch that fight all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. That's one of the just one of the best MMA fights you can really just turn on and watch. Just awesome.
No, that was super fun. Also, not super fun was being on
Yeah.
Dark as the dog of the day and
No.
seeing the fight like that close to being finished in his
He was gonna
favor. And
win.
just, I mean, he
Fight IQ.
like, dude, just slow it down a tiny bit, pick your spots. But he just all like gasses,
Hands
gets touched.
down.
And Rodriguez was completely gassed himself. I mean, he had
Oh my
some
God.
great grappling control, beautiful body triangle, able to really stifle some transitions of Park in the first round. But I mean, you can see it take a toll on him in the second round. That's a big boy, 6'3", 75-inch reach. And RoboCop is fucking jacked, man. So
RoboCop.
I mean, so the way I see it is Rodriguez has shown me on multiple occasions to either gas out or, I mean, he's gotten chinned before. I mean, he's gotten chinned by Jordan Williams on Dana White's Contender Series, a pressure guy that got up in his face and started throwing bombs. Armin Petrosian, he's going to get up in your face and throw bombs. He's also going to use the kickboxing. Rodriguez is very boxing centric. And while he does have some beautiful takedowns and judo throws, a lot of it is when his opponent initiates a clinch exchange and then is opened up to those takedowns. You don't see Rodriguez shooting as much. I really think that Petrosian is going to win the battle from distance here. The question is if Rodriguez can get to his grappling early enough on his own terms, there's definitely a live chance for a submission, but I'm leaning on the Petrosian plus 145 or Petrosian by KO at what do we got here?
Plus 200.
At plus 200. So that's the clearest path to victory for him. And if you're gonna say Gregory Rodriguez by submission at plus 400, it's also not so bad.
Yeah, Gregory Rodriguez at plus 400 by submission is certainly an interesting bet. The problem, of course, like you said, is Gregory Rodriguez's propensity to get hit and kind of gas out, right? He's somebody that really likes to take things to the ground. But what I saw on tape from Armin was really, he does get taken down a little bit, unfortunately, but he pops up to the feet fairly well. Good technique and also very strong with doing it. Gregory Rodriguez is somebody, especially that he fights, he's a little bit lumbering. Like he's good. When his body is there to be hit, especially on the counters.
Mm.
So I really do. I think that the Muay Thai of Armin is also going to keep Gregory from the tough clinches as well, where he also really likes to take it when when he wants safety. Right, when he wants safety, he's going to lean on that clinch, and I think that's where Armin is also dangerous. He's going to hit him hard in the clinch, that will push him back out to the center, and he's going to start popping him with the kicks, and that's kind of what you saw in Dana White's Contender Series. Armin's getting dumped. Oh my God, he's going to lose the fight. What Pam hits that dude with the fucking kick, and the dude is like sleeping. Doesn't know
Yeah.
he's 10 feet away from Dana White. He's asleep. Lullaby time. So with that kind of power, with the ability to just so devastatingly turn out your lights, and Gregory Rodriguez, who we've seen get hit, nearly put out by somebody like Dong Jung, who's not even necessarily a knockout guy. Like, that was via volume from getting hit and being tired. Yeah, I like taking a shot on the dog here. Not one that you know, I mean, is he our dog of the day? I mean, it's not something that I want to like.
Um,
I don't know. It's not something that I want to bet all my money on, put all my eggs in that basket. But like,
I guess he's the most
he's
intriguing dog of the
yeah,
day. I wouldn't say that we're throwing like a 2.5 unit play out on him,
right.
but I would say you'll probably see him in some sort of like form or fashion on our Bet MMA
I
play.
think
I would
listen,
agree.
I know you will see him by
Yes.
knockout. I think
Yes.
you will see him by knockout, because realistically, when you get a guy that all of his wins are by knockout, by round, most of them are around round one knockout. He's got 2 in round 2 and 1 in round 3. Um, that's how he's going to win this fight. And like we said, Gregory Rodriguez is hittable. So
Hmm.
let's go.
Let's go.
Knockout plus 200, at least a half a unit, because that'll win you one. Double up. Nothing wrong with a little double up.
No.
You
You
know
know
that
the
song? You
guru.
know that song Double Up? Who is that? Chingy. Chingy. Double
I
Up. That's an old one.
Yeah, I know a couple of Chingy songs, not that one, I suppose.
That's off that record. That's off that record
I'm
though, with
I'll
the song that made him famous.
Yeah, I
What
believe
song
you.
is
Well,
that?
what I'd like to really talk about is Rongju versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This fight has the potential, I think, to be a fight of the night candidate. I do think this line at Bahamondes minus 200 and Rongju at plus 170, it could certainly be a little bit closer. I just don't think I'm actually going to end up pulling the trigger on Rongju. Just and you look at the size discrepancy, we're talking about 6-inch height for Bahamondes and 4 inches of reach. And the most important thing is the 3 inches of leg reach, too, for a guy that throws as many kicks as he does. He loves, kind of circling away, playing with his food a little bit. He lands 7 strikes per minute, but he also absorbs 6. So, like Rongju, he is going to be able to close the distance and get in there at points. And you are going to see him shoot for some takedowns. I mean, 4.56 at a 75%. But I would think he's going to have to hurt Bahamondes a little bit first to really get in for those attempts. You saw Jenkins was getting dropped and hurt early, and that certainly softens up the takedown defense, right? So I want to just take Rongshu's numbers and his eagerness to wrestle as certainly a good sign. I just don't know how successful he'll be against a guy that's peppering him with the jab or the front kicks off the back foot. What are you seeing in this fight, Guru?
One of the major things that stood out to me and was kind of unfortunate for Rong Zhu was just Ignacio Bahamondes's athleticism, and how that's going to be a major advantage for him in this fight, where Rongzhu's gonna look to be more of that bully style, try to press him into closer range, right? Not let it stay kickboxing range, make it a dirtier fight as opposed to a cleaner, more technical fight, which is exactly what Bahamondes wants. And unfortunately, I think that like I said, Bahamondes is gonna be quicker, stronger, a little bit more nimble, and explosive, and I think that could be a problem for Rong Zhu in the long term. I think Bahamondes has shown himself to be somebody that kind of turns it on as the fight goes on. I think that John McDessie fight was, really close. I still think some people may give it to Bahamondes. It's a coin flip to me. That fucking wheel kick was disgusting. He kicked he kicked Roosevelt Roberts straight out of the UFC, man. Um, yeah, the problem with Rong Zhu is that there's absolutely no proven commodity there at all. He looked okay versus Brandon Jenkins. Like, he had to use all of his might and faculties and was still talking to his corner, like, in the last 2 minutes instead of working, was chatting with his corner. He was also doing it in the Vargas fight, chatting with his corner. I'm not really sure what that is. He's a very, very young fighter at 21. I think this could just be a nice lesson for him. And just very quickly, I was very annoyed by it. The Chingy song was "Bag Up," and then the song "Double Up" is an is an R. Kelly song featuring Snoop Dogg, which is, unfortunately, it is a banger though. So anyway,
Thanks, Guru. And completely necessary. Yeah, great. So, anyways, if I'm looking for anything in this fight, it's this fight to go the distance. Overall, total rounds over 2.5 is -155, but fight to go the distance, man, is -135. So that's getting real close. But then, I mean, listen, Bahamondes, he's also training with Bilal Muhammad. You don't think he's getting tested with the takedown defense in those rounds?
yeah, no, he is. Like, I think he just works too hard in the gym, and like we said,
So
he's seen it. I do think Bahamondes should be able to get it done.
Bahamondes an over 1.5 -115. I do think you can trust the chin. So in that case, you might
I
as well
but
just say
but like
Bahamondes
do
by
you
decision.
but do you really think that there's no chance of some sort of freak first round knockout?
Oh, there's totally a chance. At +150 for decision or +200 for knockout, they're saying that there's a pretty good chance either thing
So I
happens.
don't know that I love over 1.5 at all.
That's fair. So do you think Bahamondes is the one to put together with Kim?
Yeah, I feel like it's a similarly leveled confidence play
Yeah,
in
it's
terms
not going to
of
be in the meat. Right.
their opponents being like similar, like
So
singularly able to like they're really only able to win this one kind of narrow way.
okay, so if you have Bahamondes at -200 and Kim at -165, we're talking +140. There might be a unit on that.
Beautiful.
Look
That's
at
the
that.
kind of talk. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And honestly, like, we we should own some of it. Like, we were shit last week, and it wasn't cute. And part of that is part of the learning process. And you can't win all the time. Can't win every week. We'd like to. I think just boiling things back down, drawing board. This is a
Yeah,
strong play. This is a strong play. Bop bop. Small unit. Cool.
boom. There you go. And here we are on to our next fight here. We got Joseanne Nunes coming in against the late notice newcomer Ramona Pascual, someone that's been training out of Syndicate MMA. So if you're gonna, see Nunes is giving up 5 inches of height, the reach. We're not so sure what's going on here, but Nunes throws some bombs and she closes the distance well against the much less experienced Bea Malecki. And I mean, she lands the hammer and just, I mean, to see a flush cold knockout like that at the 135 division, I mean, that is some power. Joseanne Nunes, knockout is -110. The line right now is -210 for Nunes and +175 for Pascual. They are giving her some level of respect, but I mean, listen, if there's one path to victory, you've seen Joseanne Nunes held down on the regional scene for multiple rounds. Comes back, gets up, knocks him out. Pascual coming out of a solid gym. Apparently, she's been staying ready. She has a path. Can she get to a guru?
Her path, if it's takedowns and laying on top of Josie, which, how you kind of teed it up, that's what it sounds like. That's what Ramona likes to do, man. She's very thick. She's strong. She throws pretty heavy punches, right? You saw that in her Invicta debut just earlier this year, right? I don't know that this chick Shamir even came to fight, but a minute into this fight, man, she nails this sick knee to the body, drops her down, and gets these punches, and that's all she wrote. Uh, she has a key lock armbar on there, man. Uh, fairly talented individual, like you said, with a good gym, hanging out with Joanne Wood, hanging out with Jeon Kim. Uh, when you have such a clear, interesting path, right? It certainly is interesting. The problem I did see, of course, with Ramona Pasquale is like you see with a lot of people that are good with the grappling, their striking is a little limited. And I watched her get absolutely cracked by a Guadalupe Guzman. I mean, she didn't get hurt or anything, but like just the fact that her hands are like, below your by your waist and you're just boom, just eating like a shot that, you could have seen from a mile away is not necessarily a good sign. Um, Really, I hate to even say it, it's probably one of those Gamblers Anonymous fights. You probably just should just stay away.
Yeah, sit this one
It's
out.
one of the things that really does strike me as weird. I'd like to move on though. Is they had the fight not to go the distance, at minus 280. So they think that Josie's getting a knockout or Ramona's getting a sub, like we just so awesomely teed up. But
Fade the narrative?
what other chick fight do they ever do that?
Fade the narrative?
For like
What
again
is fight goes the distance? Uh-oh, get the orderlies ready. What
plus
is fight
200 plus 200.
plus
I'm
200? It's so you're saying that there's only a 33% chance this fight goes the distance in women's bantamweight?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's probably closer to like 45 or 40. But
but yeah, I mean, once again, let's stay
lower
off this
level, it could
one.
easily be a finish. It's weird, just something that caught my eye. Not, maybe like we like to say on here, maybe some grandma's couch cushion type play. But I think we have some other sharper plays for grandma
Let's
and,
go.
and her couch.
And in our next fight, we got Terrence McKinney versus Fareed Zim, and we did break this fight down already, and unfortunately had to get called off during fight week.
How long ago was that already? Hasn't it got called off like twice?
Yeah, I think it's been a struggle getting this one together overall. I think it was only the one cancellation, but regardless, hopefully this one happens because I think this fight is going to be as exciting for however long it lasts. I mean, Terrence McKinney minus 105 right now on DraftKings, and Fareed is minus 115. You
It
see,
was once.
um, they got equivalent records at 11-3, and they both can win by knockout or submission. But we've only seen Fareed go to decision. Two wins and one loss, whereas McKinney, every single fight of his has ended inside the distance, for
I
better or
really,
for
I
worse.
really don't think Ziam is live for a knockout at all. Like, I mean, he has only a few knockouts, and they all contain some sort of elbow involved
Well, that's interesting. I think that the path for Ziem getting a finish in this fight is seeing Terrence McKinney gas out. Like,
and getting a sub
yeah, I mean that is extremely possible as well.
because
He's got
because because
five submission
McKinney's
wins in his
because
career.
McKinney's been subbed by Derek Minner, and well, he had the flying knee to Sean Woodson and the
Right
crazy
now,
leg injury.
McKinney, he will shoot for takedowns. He is an active wrestler. I mean,
Yeah,
he
very
wrestled at
good.
Notre Dame. Michael Chiesa was his high school coach. He's a BJJ purple belt. In his fight against Sean Woodson, he has the back for the entire first round with the body triangle locked in. And yeah, he gassed the fuck out and he starts shooting lazily like a zombie walking forward. And boom, next thing you know, he's sleeping like a zombie. It's like
Sleeping like
Terrence,
a zombie.
Terrence McKinney, he's got he's got a real good chance to get after it against Ziem. And I really do think that his win condition remains inside the distance. Ziem is very hittable at times if you bring the pressure on the front foot. And also, Ziem has given up some grappling time to guys like Luigi Vendramini. He's given up 19.7 minutes of opponent control to Jamie Malarkey and Don Madge and Luigi Vendramini. I mean, I think Terrence McKinney is a more explosive wrestler and grappler, especially in the early going. That I mean, Guru, you were showing me a little prop before. What are you looking at here?
I don't remember exactly what I showed you, unless it was specifically this. I really like Terrence McKinney finish only money line. Uh, Again, this is a DraftKings special. It means that if it goes the distance, it's a void bet. You get your money back. Terrence McKinney finish only minus 120. I really like that. Oh, I think I remember now. It was
I could tell you if you don't.
no, I do. I think I do. It was uh it was the hang on, I have it right here. There it is. Terrence McKinney to win in round 1 or 2, right? It was Terrence McKinney to
Yes.
win in round 1 or 2 plus 240 cuz I don't see it going around 3 there.
That's
I still like that prop too. I like that a
that.
lot.
Yeah. If
It's
it's not
juicy. It's not
McKinney
it
plus money
oh, what do you
overall, then
mean? What do you mean? It wasn't plus money, so wasn't interesting yet.
you caught me. But yeah, I mean, listen, Terrence McKinney. Even if you just say Terrence McKinney by knockout or submission is plus 175, that seems juicy enough too. I mean, it can happen at any point. Even if you say Terrence McKinney round 1, listen, Friesium could certainly get a win here. I'm just gonna take who I believe to be the more explosive and fun fighter. And this is a guy that has all around talent. It's just about the gas tank. But it's not like Ziem has shown me like an elite gas tank. I've just seen him go the distance before, and he's looked really bad in some round threes.
Wow. I mean, why is that? I mean, if you like ZM, how is it priced that way? Faraz ZM by decision is plus 300. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's the way to go. But I mean, ultimately, I think that's basically what we got on this fight. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on to the next one, we got Alejandro Perez at plus 200 versus Jonathan Martinez at minus 250. Jonathan Martinez, just looking at, doing the stat entry for that fight, I mean, I'm not really sure how Kakramanov was. I'm sorry, Lazishvili
Yeah, I was like,
was
who?
was the winner in that fight. I thought Martinez, definitely seemed to, just looking at that part. But then you go look at the fight, you see a little control. You do see, some of the bigger
Laza
shots.
Laza
Yeah,
Philly wasn't the
Lazishvili.
winner. Oh you're saying how is Martinez the winner?
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're
Oh,
saying.
oh, I'm sorry. He did win that fight.
Yeah.
Oh man,
He
I'm
he
all over the place.
dominated.
I'm sorry.
He
Yeah,
like he beat his brakes off.
I must have been looking at something crazy when I was entering those stats.
That's all right, bro.
Anyways,
We've been there.
yeah, no, listen, Jonathan Martinez, the times that he's lost, uh,
Andre Ewell, Davy Grant.
also Andre Sukumtov. So
That's a
not,
terrible loss.
yeah,
And Matt Schnell on the regional scene.
yeah. So I mean, it's not that he isn't afraid of losing, but I just think you see Alejandro Perez, you see this fight now at 145 pounds, and if you had to take a
Right.
guess at who was asking for that, it's got to be Alejandro Perez. You know he's going to do some crazy
Uh,
shit at the face-off.
it
You
doesn't have
know
to be. Didn't
it probably is.
Jonathan Martinez missed weight versus Davy Grant. So I have
No, no,
no
they had a fight at 145.
what? No, he
Davy
missed
Grant
weight.
versus no, he
No,
missed weight for the
no, he
semis.
missed weight for Davy Grant.
What was the weight for that fight?
135 and he weighed in at 136.
That's the bantamweight limit is
Oh,
136.
wait, what?
1 pound allowance.
Wait, I'm on drugs.
Anyway,
Wait,
so
what
he's
fight did
only
he miss for?
I
He
just said
missed
the
for
Frankie
something.
Frankie Science fight, but that was he was
Oh
facing a veteran wrestler,
yeah.
so it was kind of like, all right, he's cheating on this. He's like, it won't happen again, blah blah blah. So hey, we both fucked up something on this fight.
Wow,
But
bro,
ultimately,
life had
yeah,
happen so fast, bro.
but yeah. So Alejandro Perez, he's given up 3 inches of reach, 2 inches of height, and Martinez is going to come out and, I mean, he's the higher volume fighter. He's got the better accuracy and and overall, I mean, just landing from distance and even his defense from distance is comparable to Perez. So it's not like he's given up much there. And I just think, Perez isn't the most active with his takedown offense. He's got 0.61 per 15. It's only 24%. I mean, Martinez is just about close to that on his own right. So I don't think this is going to be a kickboxing fight. And I think Martinez has definitely shown enough to win. It's just trusting him as a minus 250. I'm not jumping to do it. But if anything, I would say if you want to do like a little fight parlay like we like doing, Jonathan Martinez and what was it we said? over 1.5, then you're getting that at minus 135. So if there was any play I would make on this fight, I do think it goes a little bit, but Perez has been knocked out twice. He's been submitted 3 times. 4 total of those have come in the UFC, so he's not beyond getting finished. I just think that it's not going to be right away with a guy like Martinez.
I agree with that. I honestly think that let me preface this, completely barring weigh-ins for these guys. Now that I said that, weigh-ins and face-offs, Martinez, all things looking good, Martinez should be a full play here to the point where I even have like a higher confidence in him than like Bahamondes.
So wow,
Yeah,
okay,
because Alejandro Perez, like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could give him some credit with the 2 losses, right? The competition and with Song Yadong and Cody Stamen, but it's been so long since he's been competing, right? He finally gets the fight with Johnny Eduardo, and he didn't look great in that fight. He just looked better than Johnny Eduardo. So, he doesn't really have, right? How is he? This is a striker's battle, yet Perez wants to win via like submission or whatever. Like, what's his path? He wants to knock out Martinez. He wants to outpace him to a decision. Like, what's his fucking game plan? I don't like. Seriously, like, I don't know what it is. Like, Martinez has sick boxing, is younger, going to be faster. Neither of these guys have takedowns. It's not really what they do. It's going to be a stand-up war. Martinez lands more strikes per minute, has better accuracy. Like,
all right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, right? You see the distance defense, right? That's higher for Perez, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but like just a little bit. Like I said, it's
right.
not even that
Oh,
much.
wow! It's
at
barely
the
nothing.
accuracy on the other side, it's not even close. So the differentials are definitely great. Listen, Martinez, I might get talked into adding
And then
him
3
into the
inches of
Makhachev
3
play
inches of
here,
reach, 3 inches of reach for Martinez. And if somebody can leak who wanted that fight to be up with, or we can kind of tell from weigh-ins, as long as, like I said, Martinez looking good, this should be a win. I mean, I'm waiting for you to change the fighters here, pal.
All right,
But,
cool. So we got Ramuz Brahimaj in our next fight here, and he's coming in against our boy. I'm sorry that I misspelled it here in my database, but we got McKeel Gilmore, Michael Gilmore, whatever it is. But
I think it's Michael. He just spells it like a weirdo.
But I mean, the loss to Court McGee sucked for Ramuz Brahimaj for sure. But we were on that McGee money decision only.
I was on that McGee.
Yes, and then
so
I came on
with that.
Yes, and we did it, and we played it, and we won.
Me.
Yeah, great. I'm proud of you. And then you see, Brahimaj when he fights guys with the deficiencies, and he has 9 submission wins. And that's the only way he's ever won. And you look at Gilmore, he's got 3 submission losses. He spends the entire time in the fight, he gets knocked out by Petrosky, just getting grapple fucked. And yeah, he gets up, stuff like that. But listen, Brahimaj is a submission guy. Gilmore is a karate guy. It's a small cage. You got Brahimaj by submission as plus 100. If you can still get that, go hit it. We hit it earlier in the day. That's my play there.
Yeah, very, very simple breakdown. Like you said, all of his pro wins are by submission. I think that's how he wins the fight. This guy, Gilmore, likes to lose by submission. The one thing that does get me a little concerned, and maybe we could be playing some metal detector or landmine detector, is I did get a little worried, right? Brahimaj, his takedown ability and his control time, like, he struggled with that versus Court, and a lot of people were going to really liked him versus Court because they thought he was going to do that, and he couldn't. When you watch that fight with Andre Petrosky, he has to fucking bear wrestle Michael Gilmore. He's picking him up and carrying him to the center of the cave and slamming him down WWE style, because that's all Petrosky does. He's just a big Russian fucking wrestler. Like, that's all he does. Brahimaj is not a wrestler. Like people thought he was versus Court McGee. He's a grappler. And there's a very big difference. The problem is that I do think at some point this fight goes to the ground. And when it does, Gilmore has shown he cannot get up.
That's I don't recommend playing Ramiz Brahimaj at minus 400. I
No,
recommend
exactly.
playing
And
submission
that's
at
why
plus
you
100.
can't. And that's really why that's one of the big reasons why you can't, is that even though he should be so confidently winning this fight, it's like, all of a sudden he stuffs the first 3 takedowns across 3.5 minutes, and he's landing some big shots, and you see him take a deep breath, and you're holding the big ass ticket, and you're going, oh no. So, yeah, submission only.
All right. So on to our card opener, our first fight of the night, our last breakdown of the night. If you haven't already, please hit that like, subscribe to our channel. Just past 100 subscribers on YouTube, thanks to you guys, and we hope to keep on going. So thanks so much for checking us out. We got Victor Murano versus Carlos Hernandez, a couple of Dana White Contender Series, both this past season, huh? And
Yeah, really, really, two of the more interesting and weird Dana White Contender Series fights to even ever happen, in terms of the fact that, like, for Victor Altamirano, he he basically he loses the fight, in my opinion, right? He drops the how did I fucking have it? He Oh my God.
you're
He
on
lost.
right, right
Sorry.
there.
Yes, there it is. He lost for sure. I had it. He lost the first round for sure. Second round was up in the air, close as it possibly could be. I honestly thought he lost it. And then he wins the third round for sure. And then you go to Dana, and Dana basically says the same thing, that he lost the first 2 rounds, but came back hard in the third and won it. But because it's on 2 weeks' notice and both guys fought like a freaking dog, he gives them both contracts, winner and loser. So Victor Altamirano, the winner, quote unquote, air quotes, the winner gets a contract, and his opponent, Carlos Condelario, who's going to be fighting in April now in the UFC, gets a contract too. Really freaking weird. And then Carlos Hernandez in the Dana White Contender Series, right? He gets rocked by a counter in that fight, right? Drops that first round, honestly. A pretty fairly closely contested second round, and pulls away handedly in the third. And again, like they give him the he Dana was really impressed with him. One of the things that he was most impressed with was that Carlos has, again, at 7-1 at the time, 6-1, beat a guy with twice as many wins as him, right? A fairly experienced prospect. So that's awesome. So the guy maybe has a fairly high ceiling at 28. Um, all that to be said, I think they're fairly even in what they do well. They both give up takedowns, rather unfortunately, but show very good knowledge in getting back up to the feet, and a propensity to do so, not just to lay on your back and wait. They both throw good combos, strong body kicks, good footwork. Like, it's really going to be a fairly interesting fight. These guys are tough as nails. I tend to lean towards the dog here, just because I think it's a coin flip fight, and I'm getting a dog who's a little bit older with the reach advantage. And
Hmm.
yeah, and again, he's a former. He's again, his experience is just a little bit better. Like, LFA flyweight champion. Like, fighting in LFA is legit, man. Like, that's a really top promotion.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't want to touch either side. Fight goes the distance minus 150. Guru, you
Yeah,
break it down great, and I'll leave it at
that was
that.
the prop I like. And listen, you guys, if you listeners, you longtime listeners, you know how much I like to call for that first round fight, the first fight of the night, to not go the distance. I think this one does. So
Well, hey guys, I mean, you made it this far. Thanks so much for tuning in. And keep an eye on our Bet MMA to see what our final plays are going to be, because we have some really good parlay pieces. Hope you guys have been following along. And thanks so much for the shout out.
KOKD1, man, legend. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Um, Guys, seriously, thanks so much for tuning in. You can find my awesome co-host at TB Scouting MMA on Instagram, Twitter, Verdict, and Tapology. You can see me at Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Man, what an awesome just we're just in the middle of all these awesome fights, man. We're just in the middle of this marathon right now. Um
We'll
next
see you
week.
guys next
Ne-
week, right? Who you
Next
got?
week, we got a sick special guest. UFC 272. There hasn't been enough buildup for this. Colby Covington versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, the grudge match. Can't wait.
Can't wait. And who else do we have? But you wanna tell everybody who we got for next
No,
week
it's
here?
special guest, not bringing
Special
it.
guest.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, people. We'll
End
see
it.
you then.